In a place called Hobbytown, there are all manner of collectors. He's a cantankerous commenter who is decidedly fresh to the hobby.
What do you say there, liver lips?
And he's a country gentleman, getting by on good old-fashioned Southern charm.
But when I'm with my cards, I am carefree like a 12-year-old.
Can two vintage card collectors coexist in conversation without driving each other crazy?
The Cracked Ice House treasures Kaboomy.
Kaboomies.
Kaboomy, one of one.
You got to get some Southern drawl in this YouTube community, man.
This is Hobby Talk with the Odd Couple, Tony the Southern Collector and Mike Petty.
Mike!
Hey, what do you say? What do you know there, beaver feet?
Beaver feet. I was wondering what name you were going to come up with. I got to come up with one on you, man, with the hair. But what about Hair God? I'll call you Hair God.
You're the busiest guy in the South, I guess. Busier than a one-legged man in a butt-kicking contest.
Hey, busy's good, man. That means I'm making money and I got stuff to do. And I'm above ground, so that's good.
You better believe it.
Yeah.
Every day above the grass is a good day, my friend.
It is a good day.
We ready to kick this show off with the bang?
Oh man, let's go! This is going to be awesome.
Man.
So as everybody knows that is watching, hopefully you've tuned in. This is going to be a once a month collaboration we're going to do, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to cover topics. We're eventually going to have some guests on. We can go live. We'll just play it by ear. We're doing this for fun, just to have something to do and hang out and talk cards and the hobby and stuff like that. Mike, what do you got to say? What's your goal?
Do you think anybody's going to ever come on with us, though? That's the thing. Who could possibly want to come on with us?
Might have to write a check, dude.
Like we always do.
So yeah, tonight what we're going to do, I wanted to just on the episode 1, let's just tell kind of our background stories and who we are, as collectors, what we like to collect, the way we build our collections, like, is it auctions? Is it private sales, card shows? And then at the very end, this is going to be awesome. I hope Mike's going to do the Petty Minute, and he's going to,
you're going to be,
it's going to be a minute of Mike Petty at his finest. He's going to let the world know what's on his mind. And so that's how we're going to wrap up the episode every month.
I got a lot of aggression to let out on the hobby, believe me.
Oh man, it's going to be cool.
Oh shit.
So Mike, I met you. I didn't meet you at the National. I
wasn't there this year.
Okay, so I met Greg, I met Mookie, I met Darren, I met some of the guys, Billy Ballgame, some of those guys, Dave Berg. So I went there with the idea. It was a fact-finding mission for me on the YouTube standpoint. I had in my mind last year at Strongsville, Greg Miller and a bunch of them were posting really awesome videos showing so much community, and they were having so much fun. I thought, man, that is what I'd like to experience.
It was an amazing time, I must say. I hadn't had that much fun at a baseball card show. Pretty much changed my entire perspective on getting yourself out there and meeting other collectors like-minded and just getting to know other guys. We got in a text group, a few of us here and there, and then I started. We start going on other people's shows and things like that, just talking about cards and the things that are going on in the hobby, and it's definitely makes collecting a lot more fun. So I think we met just through a text chain, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Just kind of got in a text together, and we're on the same Discord, and just because I guess we kind of we're nothing alike. That's why we're the odd couple, but we do collect similarly.
Yeah, we do.
I guess we have a similar path, and maybe like we're not like over the top huge collector, but we're like right in the middle. We play the game a little bit. Like when we did the Heritage show the other night, we didn't have any eggs in the basket there, but that stuff was just way out of our reach. A lot of it, in the
Yeah.
hundreds, 150. It's nice to think you can compete that way, but we stay in our own lanes and
Yeah.
collect what we can, and it's pretty much it, I guess.
Yeah.
So, but how
Sometimes we're in the same lane, and that becomes a problem.
oh, we'll talk about
Yeah.
that. How when we've gone
Yeah,
back
man.
in time, and how we've cost each other a few dollars here and there over
Yeah.
the time. But specifically, we have one thing that we'll talk about. So you've been on YouTube for about what, 6 months? Has it been that long? Or
5 months.
5 months?
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I really appreciated watching everything that you're putting out and your educational videos. Love the way you read, and you read a book, and then you're able to tell the story with the cards, and that's all fun for people, especially you're trying to give back to the game of baseball, because
Yeah.
in the end, I think that we collect vintage and speak a little bit different than only collecting modern. And look, I like the game of baseball. But I used to love it. I
Hmm.
loved it a lot more than I do now. And I
Yeah.
guess that's part of the problem. Like, a lot of people have. They've lost a lot of fans over the time, but still the greatest game. The
Yeah, it
players
is.
are still as talented as ever for the most part when they can stay on the field. I mean, I get ridiculed for calling a lot of these guys pussies, but it is what it is. We played hurt back in the day, and I
Yeah.
will say the players last year. There was some stats out that I saw recently that the position players were among the most healthy that they've ever been. They had like over 20 people that played 150 plus games, and when normally in the last 10 years it's been like 120 games is a full season for these guys. It's
Yeah.
almost like basketball.
Yeah.
The guys, they sit
The
out.
load management stuff.
Yeah, the load man, and I think that's a terrible disservice to the fans, because you spend all these money on baseball tickets, for instance. And I went to go see the Dodgers at the Padres this year. Took my grandkids, and I mean, the Dodgers had literally Otani. He was the only starter. Everybody was out, and they just got shelled, and they got beat like 10-1. It was just a bore. And here we're
Yeah.
paying, $300 a ticket for the kids, and
Yeah.
$1,000 a night for the hotel room, and getting down there, and
Hmm.
all that. So, and then not getting to see the best players, and
Yeah.
it's kind of
Yeah.
irritating.
Yeah, the old saying was, man, I think it was DiMaggio mentioned this to Mantle, that at the end when Mantle was a rookie and DiMaggio
Mhm.
was in his last season, he would play hurt and he always had all those ailments. And Mantle talks about in his book how he didn't understand it. He just thought DiMaggio was kind of a curmudgeon and all that. But as Mantle aged and couldn't hardly walk, his knees hurt so
Mhm.
bad, and he remembered, he thought, man, now I know how DiMaggio felt. I feel bad thinking what I thought about him. And he remembered DiMaggio saying he was going to play even if he was hurt, because he didn't know what person had come from how far to watch him play that day, and he
Mhm.
didn't want to sit out and disappoint them. So,
I mean,
there
can you
was a lot of
imagine?
pride that went into what they did, and
Yeah.
playing the game every single day, so
Yeah. So we
that's
like
a
the
big
game
deal.
the way it used
Yeah.
to be, and I think that's just part of as you get older too. You do long for the old days, and like as you may or may not know, I'm trying to relive 1976. I mean, for the last 10 years practically.
Yeah.
All the way from. I'll just keep trying. That's all I can do. They
Well, you got
say
the hair,
I
man.
do, but they always say there's a song that says, "God, it's such a drag when you're living in the past." But
Yeah.
what are you gonna? That's what
Yeah, that's right. Well,
that's what I
Mike,
like to do. Yeah.
how long? So I wanted to ask you this because
Mhm.
we've been talking, but I've never asked you this question on purpose. So I want you to say it on camera. But how
Okay.
long have you been watching YouTube?
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. In fact, it's funny because I don't know why like the thought came to my head. I go, I wonder how long. I mean, because I think I said 10 years before, but I really think it's been closer to like 15 or longer
Wow.
on YouTube. All in all, I used to watch videos, and when I collected autographs, I used to go on there. There was this guy, Chris Williams. He was great at scouting out fake autographs. I used to call him Fonzie because he looked like the Fonz, or Mad Dog. He was from New
Yeah.
York, and he did. He came right out and would call these these guys out, these guys that were doing the fake autographs and selling them, and Mike Baker, uh, public enemy number one with the hundreds of thousands of fakes that crossed his path. Now he's
Right.
got his own sticker company that everybody
Yeah.
loves his eye appeal. Now he's coming up, with a new grading company. And I guess this is a hobby that they forgive and they forget. But I think they mostly forget because so many
Or
people
they're like me
rotate.
because I don't know about that.
Well, that's what I
I'm new
mean. You're,
enough.
you're relatively new,
Yeah.
and the hobby needs people like you, because what normally happens is they'll get into, like, I don't want this to be a modern versus vintage thing, but seriously, what happens is they get all hot and bothered and buying all the mod, spending thousands and thousands of dollars, and then they're forced to sell because it's basically a game of hot potato. The product is never going to be worth what it is the minute you open it. It literally is like buying a new car.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
drive it off the lot, and for the most part. Now, unless you want to play the lottery. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
we saw videos out there with guys. Hey, buddy, what would you do if you won the lottery? Well, how about you just get a job and earn it, and
Yeah,
then
that's right.
every day is like the lottery for me. You
Yeah.
know what I
Yeah.
mean? But
Yeah.
I'm not looking to hit the lottery.
Well, then you've
Yeah.
seen a lot of guys on YouTube come and go then.
I have, yeah. And so, I mean, I've been a cantankerous commenter and a
Yeah.
thorn in people's sides for quite a while. I mean, I'd say that I'm probably not that well liked for the I've recently, in the last few years, mended a lot of those bridges, and people don't block me nearly as much as they used to. I think because now they understand. I think, but when you get to hear me and get to know me, you realize that, I mean, 99.9% of everything I'm doing is in good fun. I'm trying to tell the truth as I know it. I do have some what I feel is decent advice. I'm willing to share it. So, and it's free and it's
Yeah.
entertainment. So, like why not listen?
Yeah.
And even if I could help one person, or even if they take just one thing and it makes a difference in their
Yeah.
collecting or in their life or whatever, then I feel like,
Yeah. Well,
I've done some good. You probably feel the same way, don't you? About, like,
yeah.
when guys with work and stuff like that, or what's
Yeah.
it like to have your own business, and
Yeah.
you know darn well you're going to take somebody under your wing and
Hmm.
help
Yeah.
them that way. So
So like when I would watch you, I just heard your name all the time. I didn't really
mhm.
know you as a person until it was Greg Miller introduced us. So we started texting and
Right.
realized what a good dude you are. Like,
Yeah, you
well,
too.
you're one thing on on here. You're not putting on a show, but you're being outspoken and you're saying what you're saying.
I
But
am. I
man,
pass a little
you're a
here
big
and there.
freaking softy. So I'm
I
gonna tell
really am.
everybody
Yeah.
that right now.
Yeah.
He's a softy. It's
It's true.
he's not crusty. He
No,
is
oh
actually
no,
soft on the inside.
I'm far from it. I mean, really,
Yeah.
I really say things with tongue in cheek, and a lot of it's just to get a rise. And I've always tried to make people laugh ever since I've been a kid. That's part of
Right.
my who I am. And laughing at myself, number one, really.
Right.
And if you don't get it, you don't get it. And
Yeah.
when you are constantly trying to be funny, I will tell you one thing. You know, 7 times out of 10 may not be that funny. A couple of things might be just downright stupid and ridiculous, but one thing might be really funny sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, and
Yeah.
that's pretty much what it is. You
Yeah.
throw enough shit on the wall,
Yeah.
and occasionally, something funny sticks.
Yeah.
And really, that's how when I came back to collecting and decide, I went back even from like 2005, back and forth with being disgusted, and looking at all the trimmings and all. I mean, like, you can get really negative, getting shut down by eBay or losing 3 grand on a deal, or there's
Right.
or getting a car that's not what it says. You can't take it back. You can't, it stops you in your tracks a lot.
Right.
So I did say, hey, if I'm ever going to collect again, I'm not going to let that shit bother me. I like the stupid cards too much. And now it's more about the people anyway. So
Yeah.
I'm not really going to let it all, I'm going to call it out when I see it at
Yeah.
every turn, and try to teach people and tell them the way. Like, even you, like with autographs, you love on-card autographs.
I do, man.
Mhm.
It's crazy too because I wasn't like that when I first got back in. I always had that
Mhm.
59 mantle that I'd
Mhm.
had since I was 12 and then got autographed when I was 14. and I always had so much love for that. But it was because I stood in front of him and got it.
But you
And
had the foresight to get a card signed. I mean, I stood in front of him before
man,
too. I've
I
had
didn't
100 autographs. I've never got a card
I
signed.
never I didn't know any different, man.
Mhm.
And then, when I was 10 years old, the Braves came on they called it the Braves Caravan. So they'd never do this today. Guys are too big, make too much money. But
Yeah, right.
Dale Murphy, Jerry Royster, Bob Horner, Phil Necro. There's probably about 8, 10 of these guys just, I guess, piled up in a bus, drove to Nashville, Tennessee, went to the same mall that Mickey was at that time, and they sat at these tables
Right.
in the middle of the mall, and they
Right.
gave out these posters, and I brought all my Braves baseball cards. So I got all
Unreal.
their autographs on cards. I had a 69, so it would have been 10 years old at that point, a
Mhm.
69 Phil Necro that he signed. I got
Unreal.
and then everybody would sign their picture on that poster, and so I
Mhm.
still have those things. So I never knew any different than to get a card autographed.
But I
I
tried
didn't.
to slow you down, like, as I know, like you're full bore. I mean, you had the
Yeah,
balls to go out and buy like a Babe Ruth autograph, right? You didn't know the signature right out of the gate. You go in blind, spending 20, 30,000 dollars on a gorgeous item like that, and you've never studied his signature or anything like
yeah. Well,
that.
I
You
did
don't
a
know
little
it.
bit.
You
I
did.
did a little bit. Yeah, I didn't just.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna buy just anything, and that's why I settled on that ball because it had the Type 1 photo of him actually signing it. There
Right.
was the story behind it in the provenance, so I
Mhm.
knew where it came from and how it got there.
Right.
So it wasn't like
Well,
it
I
was
mean,
just
so
a random ball.
that puts you ahead though of a lot of other people out there that are really parted very easily from their money. I mean, I still think there's tons of fake autographs out there, like
Yeah,
because
there
the
probably
autographs are
is.
so scribbly right now,
Yeah.
and the grading of the autographs I find just disgusting to be like. In fact, you were bidding the other night. We were supposed to talk about it on our Heritage show. The topic came up today with TJ, who
Mhm.
also had that Sandy Koufax Retardo,
Yes.
beautiful, card, the blue one with
Yeah.
Koufax,
Yep. He's also got an
and
O-Pee-Chee signed. It's the
he
only
does.
one. Yeah.
But his card is Sandy signed it beautifully,
It's
like up the
awesome.
hand,
Yep.
and it's big and it's gorgeous. He
Yep.
did get a 10 on it. But
Yep.
if you look at that autograph, we pulled it up today and looked at it, the one that sold at Heritage. It got a 10 on that
Yeah.
autograph. It literally was putrid. And he
Yeah, it
said,
does.
yeah, but the paper, he says, look, if you know that there's no gloss on the paper. I go, I don't care about what he signed it on. I go, I'm looking at the signature. It looks like it was signed with like a Sharpie that was as thick as my
Yeah.
pinky. And it
Yeah.
just,
And it wasn't as neat as his either.
it was nowhere near.
Mhm.
I mean, I would give that a 3 on a good day. And
Yeah.
they're grading it a 10.
Yeah.
So it's like,
So,
and it's a $10,000 card. I mean, I can't see people paying that,
yeah, it's
you
just
know?
like with me, the reason I was bidding on it is because there's only 5. There's only 5 of
But who
those.
cares if you can't read the damn thing? Are you
But
going to
yeah,
look at the? I'd be so pissed if I won that. I'd be looking
I
at that
was
every
trying
day.
to
It would
win it,
bug me.
man.
I know
I
he's
was
giving it
trying
to
to win it.
Webb. Of
So
course you
I
were.
liked it because it was in his
It was
hand
great.
and it's a very low pop card. So,
Buy a
so
ball. It was in his hand. He's
I
got the
know.
whole world in his hand. I
I
mean,
was
but
talking to TJ today too about
yeah,
stuff. So yeah, man, he's got
right.
awesome stuff. TJ is
He does.
online, by the way, is his
Oh, he is
YouTube
always
channel.
online.
Yeah,
He
check him
does
out. He's
great,
he's a good dude.
a
Yeah, so
great job.
he's kind of cantankerous about the autographs like you are, and he tries to talk to me about it. But what
Right,
I
good.
try to tell him is once it's slabbed, dude. Even if it's a good fake, it's real at that point.
Well, I guess. I mean, but and I think for the bigger names too, like the PSA and those, they are going to get it right most of the time. I just know that, like, as far as Ruth, there was a lot of talk on that 54 at one time that they had bad exemplars, in their
Yeah,
system, and that one guy up there was always, trying to prove them wrong, and
yeah,
they're always getting into it. And I just hate, and that's kind of why I gave up autographs and got
yeah,
back into cards. Because so I know you asked me, like, when I started, like, so
yeah,
I started back in about 2005, and that had to coincide at some point with my YouTube, because that was I kind of collected autographs with that. And then about 2007 or so, I think I got enough of the damn autographs and all the fakes and all that, blah, 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 on the blogs and shit like that, Autograph Magazine and Net 54 and all that kind of shit. But, and then I got into back into cards, and then wondering what I collect. So I wanted to collect all the cards that I either had at one time or maybe never could afford when I was a
Right.
kid. Or, so I always had a love for the 56 sets, 55. The story of my Mickey Mantle journey, of the 1952, I've told it, plenty of times, is how I sent away as a 13-year-old kid in 1974 for $75.
Yep.
And waited 6 weeks and the card never came. So I also recognize that as probably the first time I left the hobby. So you see how that can have a bad taste in collectors' mouths, and it did with me. Of course, then it's also came a time when there was, you're starting high school, girls, and the baseball cards. And I think then 76 was my last year. Probably opened my first pack in 69, I think.
Yeah.
But you know what? I always wanted to go backwards. And the one card I wanted to show people is, I don't know, this is not a card showing expedition here, but
No, show all your
I
cards.
do want to show that I have this card
That's beautiful.
from my original collection. This is it was my first old card when I was like 10 years old. I
Yeah.
managed to get my hand on a Hank Aaron, 1956, and it's the only card that's been with me, through all my sales and divorces and house fires and all, every
that's
damn
awesome.
thing. And so I'm happy to still have that.
Yeah.
But and that's the card I probably appreciate most.
Yeah.
Just because and I don't know if like, what do you think about vintage? You think that's something you're born with, like wanting to collect backwards a lot, or do you think
No,
it's
I don't.
what?
Well, I think it's in our DNA as people. I mean, I talked
Mhm.
about that on an episode, that, in the Jewish community, when you do Passover, it's the elder person of your household that tells the story of Passover and how that happened. In churches, it's the older people who are the elders of the congregation or the leaders. In, tribes, it's the older people that are the older tribesmen tell the history of their tribe. So how did they know all that? They wasn't just born with it. When they were young, they were running around like wild kids like we did. But, as you age and you start looking back, and the history of things start to mean more to you. So I think it's in our DNA as humans. As we get older, we look back.
And
So
packs were fun to open, right? I mean,
they were.
everybody
Everybody
who's probably collecting today fell in love with opening packs.
That's
I
right.
just think it's just like anything, I fell in love with gambling when I was in my 20s too. I loved to play poker.
Yeah.
But then, you realize at some point you're not going to win every time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
So I had to give that habit up.
Yeah.
Hey, I like to smoke pot a lot too. Had to give that habit up.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things I like to do just because I don't like to get my teeth bashed in, spending $5,000 on boxes and pulling my hair out.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's just that's not fun to me. I don't like to gamble like that anymore. I'm
No,
not
that's
a
true.
gambler.
No, I don't like to gamble either. I've never gambled on ball games, nothing. It ain't fun to me. I just like to watch the game. And when I got money on it, I know there's a good chance I'm gonna be pissed off at the end of it. So I don't
Sure.
do that.
Me neither,
So
unless I'm
I've
in
never
Vegas or something, I
never
don't play the
really
game.
got that. But I want to backtrack on something real quick and clarify what
Okay.
I said. When I said once they're slabbed, they're real, I was saying that in tongue in cheek in a way, because I don't really believe that. What I do believe is I can look at the autograph and see if it looks real. I'm not going to
Right.
buy something that looks totally bogus, but
Well, you
at
almost
some
did. You almost
point,
bought that Koufax and you didn't even read it.
well, at some point though, if you're going to collect on-card autographs, you have to trust the system, because if you don't, the only autographs you'll ever own are ones that you got in person. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. There are people that collect that way. Me personally, I just think it's cool. I like the rarity of the autographs on vintage cards. And I like the fact that, Jackie Robinson held that in his hand at one point, and trying to think about who he signed that for and what that person looked like and where this card is being, you know,
I think
you
you should
always
break it out of there. You should break it out of that slab,
yeah, but
and
then
you
I'd
can
have to
hold
pay
it also.
$5,000 to
Well,
get it
that's what
graded again.
that's the other thing. What I heard, what TJ said, he spent $1,400 to get it signed, or so, and another 1,400 to get it graded. That
Yeah.
Koufax. I'm going. You spent 1,400 to
Yeah.
get that graded. I mean, that's pretty. And so I want to go back too about what I said about gambling. I mean, not that buying baseball cards probably even the vintage is not a gamble. I mean, it is a gamble. We're all gambling to a sense,
Yeah.
but I also feel like I've, you know, over the test of time, it's almost like I always like to compare it to gold, which I know I shouldn't. But in my mind, as a baseball card collector of vintage, it's somehow how I can continue to spend money on it, I think, just
Yeah.
because over time it's generally gone up. I mean,
Yeah.
if I look at all the things I bought, you know, from 2005 when I started and tried to flood my collection with 50s and 60s. I mean, there's some of maybe a few cards out of the 500 or something may have gone even or a little
Yeah.
bit up, but everything is mostly, and this is way after the pandemic now, you know,
Yeah.
it's mostly up huge
Yeah.
amounts, which I think makes it a little easier to spend a little more that we're spending now, because now we're both kind of like in a different echelon. Before it was $200 cards, and a lot of them
Mhm.
hundreds, 50s, 1,000. Oh, and guess what? Here's 1,500 and 2,000, and
Yeah.
then it turned into 5,000, and then it's 10,000, and now it's, you know, as you get up
Yeah.
and you know, looking at different things, you know,
Yeah.
your roofs, and that was always my plan from the beginning. One thing I admire about you, and I think that which I wish I would have done, and I've said this before, is you kind of started from the top down a little bit,
Yeah.
you know, which you just bit the bullet right at the beginning. It's paid off with for you. You know, you like these Joe Jacksons you picked up, the Cobb, the Cracker Jacks. I mean, those are starting to get. I thought that there'd be no problem for me to pick those up, you know, but
Yeah.
as we're getting on, you're
Yeah.
talking, you know, these are $50,000 cards.
Yeah.
That's going to take a little bit of work or
Yeah.
some trading, or it's, you know, so you've got a lot of those out of the way,
Yeah. And I
you
want to
know.
say this too, like
Mhm.
you don't have to collect Joe Jackson Cracker Jack cards or signed Jackie Robinson cards in this hobby to have a good time and
Oh,
and
hell no.
appreciate your collection. I feel very blessed that I'm in a position owning my own company where I can do
Mhm.
some things that are out of the ordinary. That isn't the ordinary. So
No.
I don't want to present that in a way where I think I'm better or you're better
Oh, hell no.
than regular Joe. Look,
Look, I
it's
mean, you have to.
we can enjoy
And I'm
this.
going to go over this with, like, I'm going to be on with John and John with Wade Boggs and Don, Field of Dreams on their show coming up. And he had an excellent video out yesterday, you know, that talked about, like, you know, hey, is my vintage collection good enough? You know, I
Yeah.
started 5 years ago. He said, you know, during the pandemic. So keep in mind, I had built mine up to that pandemic point. When that started, I saw something that I didn't like, and I went straight for the cheap $20 ungraded cards. I've bought very little in the graded on the rise up, because either I was going to sell my cards and make a shitload of money, or I was just I did not want to buy into that type of a run up. And I
Yeah.
saw, you know, you were watching these videos and these investors, and I mean, it reminded me of 1980 when every 7-year-old was a baseball card inventor,
Yeah, that's right.
investor, and that's
Yeah.
the way it was.
It
And I
was.
think you're seeing a lot of it happen now, not to the same extent yet, and maybe we never will, and that would be great too, you know, for
Yeah.
the kids, because but what they are doing is they are playing a game of hot potato with
Yeah.
these cards. They're buying it as cheap as they can. They're reselling it for literally making, I mean, margins that you would never run your business on these margins,
Yeah.
you know, like 5%, 10%, but they're doing it like in 10 minutes. They go to
Yeah.
this guy, they buy a card, they take it to the next guy, and they make $10.
Yeah, and they gotta have knowledge to do that. I mean, they're
Oh,
not
hell yeah.
they're very smart in what they're doing. I mean, me and my cousin
Yeah.
used to do that. We go downtown to Nashville to Vanderbilt basketball games whenever Kentucky came to town, especially when Kentucky came to town, and all Big Blue Nation would come down from Lexington to Nashville to see the game,
Yeah.
or Tennessee when they played Tennessee, and all the Tennessee fans would converge on Memorial Gym, and we would wear Vanderbilt t-shirts and buy tickets cheap because we were kids from Vanderbilt fans, and then we go down the street corner and sell them and
Yeah.
triple our money. And
I mean,
and one night we didn't even go in the game. Like we
course
probably
not.
sold 20 pairs of tickets, made so much money in high school, and we went home and watched it on TV. And
well, we would do the same thing. We would sell our tickets sometimes and then go drink beer
yeah,
with the money.
so they're doing something really similar. I tip my
But
hat
what
to
John
them.
was saying, what he was saying essentially was like, man, so he built his collection during that time. So probably a lot of it fell off. He was also learning a lot
Yeah.
too. And as you know now, after 5 years, he kind of probably, he knows what he's doing a little bit better.
Yeah,
The deals out there now, you can get just cards that are beautiful in 3s to 5s. Like I'd be sitting right
Yeah.
in there right now and picking these cards off for 30, 40. And this is the way that you're going to build a world-class collection,
yeah,
and then as he's a young man too, he's in his, mid 40s, you start getting responsibilities off your shoulder, your budgets become a little bigger. And I think it's natural for some people to look, at like what the other guy has.
yeah. it
But
is.
the thing you really look, everybody has somebody that dwarfs them.
Yes.
You know damn well. No, like
Yeah.
we're comfortable. We're our families are taken care of or what. But I mean, my
Shoot.
neighbors, they bought their house for $1 million less than I did.
Yeah.
I mean, these
Yeah.
guys, they got money. Everybody has.
Did you
more
see the
than you do.
Kendrick collection the other day?
Yeah, I've seen it before.
I've got paper
Whatever.
compared to what that guy's got.
Of course.
So it's
Well,
all
that's what I
relevant,
mean.
man.
It really is, So like in the
Yeah.
YouTube community, maybe we get a little bit of fuss, maybe in a good way or in a negative way for people that are jealous or here and there. But jealousy is one of those things that I've never had any use for. I mean, I'm always happy for the other
Yeah,
guy. They get
I
a
am
new,
too.
I see all my friends. They get new cars every 2 years or whatever. I don't. I'm driving the same car for work, literally since it's a 2008.
Yeah.
So I don't need a new car.
Yeah.
I'm happy with the old one I have.
But we need new cards.
Well, that's the thing. I buy the car. I'd rather have Dodger tickets. I don't have to worry about season
Yeah.
tickets anymore. Taking customers, I don't care.
Yeah.
Now all that money it gets, my daughter, she's through college. I'm pretty, for the most part, at the end of pharmacy school, but doesn't live here. We're empty nesters. And so this will happen to everybody if you live long enough.
Yeah, that's right.
And you just keep doing the little things. You live beneath your means.
Yeah.
And really, there's no secret to it. It's just
No,
a matter
man.
of
Just be smart.
It's compounding and doing
Yeah,
the right thing.
That's right.
The other thing, Billy ball game. I was watching him the other day. He was it Billy? No, not Billy. Cutter Garrett. He was saying that his dream has been for the 52 mantle.
Yeah, I saw that.
And he just become a grandfather for the first time. He's one of the youngest, must be 38-year-old grandfather already. But I admire him for that. And he said, I have the money right now with the house and all that. But he goes, should I pay off my bills or should I, spend $50,000 on this card? And I mean, I know I would pay my bills off before I bought the damn card. And then I'd push that off till the grandkids are a little older.
Yeah.
What would you recommend the same thing? Or would
Yeah.
you say just go
You
for
got to
it,
take
or-
care of the finances first, and then once you do
Mhm.
that frees up money to do other things.
It does.
And so that's the goal, man. That's what I've done in my world with my business and my
Mhm.
personal finances. Just kind of knock that down. So I'm 55, and so I'm getting some big cards, but for all those years I took care of business, man. I didn't buy anything for me. So what I've told people, these big cards I buy, it's not like buying a Ranger bass boat, and as soon as I drive it off the lot, it's worth half what it was 10 minutes ago.
Mhm.
What I'm buying and what, for the most part, if you're buying vintage, they're going to hold their value. They may
Mhm.
lose a little bit, but the stuff I have, I think it'll outpace inflation. It's not going to,
Yeah.
I'm not going to call it an investment, but I don't think
No.
it's losing money. It's more like a savings account. So that goes to the next thing I wanted to kind of talk about, like building your collection. Like, are you doing auctions? Are you doing private
Yeah.
sales? What's, if you had to put a percentage on how you're doing things, what are you doing?
I mean, I just look at the damn. I'm looking for the damn cards. You know, this year last year I had a regurgitating list, as you know, for 100 cards, and they just kept flooding in. I mean, you and I, you know, really went all out last year. This year, you know, I picked up a few little things here and there that are interesting that cross my paths, but I basically have a pretty short, narrow. I had a 5 card list this year of big cards that I'm
Yeah.
trying to add, and I'm not really letting any big cards get in the way per se of that. You know, like I'm not going to
Yeah.
go off the beaten path, and you know, like that Jackie Robinson I picked up, the 49 Leaf. You know,
Yeah.
I never liked the card. I had every other Jackie Robinson card, but that's one of the things they say: buy what you don't like. Because I could have got that card for $3,000, instead I had to pay 10.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
so and now I love it.
I
mean,
love
like,
that card,
there's
man.
nothing like to look at that card and see the Andy Warhol look.
I know.
And you know, when you've got a nice bright yellow
Mm-hmm.
background and the dark blue navy cap, you know, and you see
Yeah, let me
his,
grab
you know,
mine here.
yeah, I'll grab mine too. We'll show them together.
Yeah, here we go.
I know
Let me get
yours
the
is
sleeve.
nicer. I'm not
Yeah.
taking mine off. I don't want to. I'm too cheap. Look at yours.
So
Where's
yeah,
mine?
man, it's a 4.5.
Yeah, and I was
Yeah, it's
reading
beautiful.
that Leaf book,
Yeah.
like you said, and I do think this is like that with the Navy. Is that the one that's printed first?
Yeah, you've got one of
With
the
the Navy
first ones
cap?
because it has the
Yeah.
cap that looks like a blue jean like mine. See, it's
Yeah,
got texture
here.
to the color.
So that, and ours are about centered the same, I think, pretty close.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Yeah, they are.
not bad. And I love the, you know, the back is beautiful and
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
great. So
I've got look at that. Look at that, Mike.
yeah,
I got a sticker,
PWCC.
buddy.
You know what they say? Do you know what they say about those stickers?
No, what do they say?
That's the trim sticker. PWC, PWCC is the
If they
king of
trimmed this one,
soaking.
they did a bad job. 'Cause it's
Well, they
still got
probably-
the corners and
maybe
everything.
just soaked a little and hydrogen.
Yeah. So
peroxide, not a
which
big
which
deal.
one of the auction houses you hit up? Let me tell you
Oh
mine.
yeah, go ahead.
I love REA. I think
Yeah.
that they ship fast. I mean, they're fair. The thing I don't like about them is how they close. You know, you're on the West Coast, I'm Central Time, man, and a lot of times it doesn't. If I'm bidding on a big card, I finally fall asleep before it ends, and then
I do
somebody
too, even on the
inevitably
West
gets it.
Coast.
It's terrible. And then
Yeah.
I do Heritage. Now Blue Jacket 66 did that video a while back talking about all the fine print that I didn't know about. Heritage and Golden, they can shield bid. It's inside the rules. They can do it. They can bid up their own card.
And I think what
that's
they do is they bid that up to what they call, you know, their maximum or their minimum. I mean,
yeah, to their floor.
reserve or whatever
Yep.
the hell it is.
That way it doesn't go for nothing.
Yeah.
So I do
And-
Golden, I do PWCC, I do Heritage, I do REA, I do Memory Lane, I do Mile High, I do Love for the Game. So there's Huggins, I did Brockelman the other
Well,
day.
you've named them all. I mean, we're going to talk about that in the petty minute a little bit.
Yeah.
But
So I
I
do
think
that.
you hit all the nails
And in
there on
eBay,
the head.
man, I still buy stuff on
But-
eBay. You
Me
know,
too.
I can find some good deals on there.
Let me show you what I bought on eBay the other day. It was, I mean, this card, I'd wanted it. It's a home run derby.
Oh, heck yeah. It's
And it's
beautiful.
this beautiful Eddie Matthews. You know, he's just that picture of him. Look at that.
That's probably the best picture of him I've ever seen on a card.
It really is. I think
Yeah.
it's, other than the 52 that everybody loves, this
Yeah.
isn't my next favorite. But you know, I was bidding these home run derby cards up. I think I'm partially to blame for the rise. I mean, I know on the air I've been second place on 3 huge errands, and this one came up for half the price of the last 5. And I don't care about the grade or the
That's
5. I mean,
awesome.
it presents itself nice as a 5.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with that. But for half the price of the last 2 auctions, I'm gonna
Yeah.
buy it now.
Heck yeah,
and
man.
that's kind of the deals that I'm looking at when I buy. The auctions are not going too cheap on eBay.
No.
I think that you know, you're seeing a lot of people buy at in the auctions that you're talking about, and then they bring them over to eBay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
we'll
they'll
talk
double
about
the
them.
price.
Yeah,
They're
so
doing
we're
what
gonna
those
talk
kids
about-
you're talking about do.
Well, they're it's really starting to piss me off. If you want, how many more minutes till the petty minute? Not many more. But I'm sorry, I could feel my heart beating already,
Yeah.
getting mad.
So me and you helped drive cards up alone. We
Yeah.
had so this card right here.
Let's talk.
I had
about it.
no idea. This is before I really knew you that well.
Yeah.
I was bidding on this. You remember what auction that was? Was it
Oh,
Heritage?
believe me, I remember everything about it. You want me to replay it for you?
That's got a sticker too, Petty.
That's what. Why do you think I didn't go the extra mile? The PWCC trim sticker.
So it's great
You got-
centered.
Oh,
It's
it's
beautiful
ridiculous.
color. Because there was what was there 5.5 in that one too,
Yeah,
or
so
something like that.
can I tell?
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
wanna tell-
recap
I
the
wanna
story.
I
Let's
wanna
go.
recap the story about why that particular card was important to me. So I never liked the damn card. I never cared about it. Okay, I never knew that it was a top card that you're gonna fucking come out of the woodwork and beat the stuffing out of me with. But we're going to show, it was the last card that I bought into the pandemic. I had bought my 51 Mantle and 51 Bowman from a guy with my Ty Cobb, which is, I know you just picked one up, but it was with this card. I got
Yeah,
a great deal. I was a
that's
3 for
beautiful.
1, right?
Yeah.
And then like a few weeks later, he says, "Hey, do you want this card?" And he throws me up this beautiful M116 Wagner with the classic, the one you just showed again.
Yeah.
And I
Let me
said,
see if
"Yeah,
I can
think
find that picture.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, go ahead. Keep telling the story. I'm gonna try to
Okay.
find the picture.
all right. Are you going to put it on your phone, or are you
I'm
put it
gonna
in-
try to put it up to the screen because I'm not sure I can put it on there later.
Okay, all right. So, well, what happens is I buy the card. It was like for $3,200, I want to say, which I thought was a lot. I mean, that's a lot of money, and I hadn't spent. And I just spent 10,000 with the guy on 3 cards. Now,
Yeah.
and I wasn't really into that same mindset. The card comes, and you got the picture of the
I
first
got the
card there?
picture, man.
That's it, and that's the way the card came.
That's
Right.
ridiculous.
All right, so there was no tapping. There was no, I pounded
No.
it, tapped it. It was jammed in there. So he says to me, "Tell you what, I'm gonna." He sent me a postage. He goes, "Send it out to get a box, and send it out to Irvine. It's right here, PSA." Now I should have either carried it in myself. But
That's what I
today,
did,
if this
yeah.
happened to me today, I would have said, "You know what? Let me just take it to them. I'll get it done, and we'll split the cost, and then I'll go pick it up, in a couple days or whatever.
Yeah.
They'll take care of me." So what he does is he has it shipped to him in Chicago. So he gets the card. He shows me the card in the new flip, and you know how excited I am about all the new flips at PSA. Whee! I love it. You can't lose on a new flip, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm so excited. The card comes. It's beautiful. He goes, "You still want it?" I go, "Yeah, I want it. Send it out."
Is
So
this
he
what it
sends
looked like when he sent it?
That's what it looked like. Look at that.
Yeah.
Dude.
There you go. There's the new flip.
3,200, the new flip, right?
Yep.
So I said, "Yeah." I said, "Please send it out to me." Card comes 2 days later, and show the picture. There we go again. Same thing. You can
That
see how
is
they taped the
unreal.
card down there. See, nobody
Yeah.
shipped cards like this guy either. He shipped them great, So he says, and again, I should have taken it down myself, but in my mind, I said, someday I'm going to probably have to sell it, or my family or somebody's going to sell it. Even though I've never sold a card, that wouldn't be one of them.
Yeah.
But I said, I don't want to send the damn card to somebody and have the same thing happen. I go, I don't think it's meant to be.
Yeah.
He had my check. He never cashed it. He shredded it. And he sent me a little thank you gift that I keep up here. This is what he sent me.
But you sent the card back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
sent it
You don't
back.
have it. That's why you were bidding
No, I
against
don't
me.
have it, but he sent
Oh,
me this
dude.
for thanks for playing.
Well, that's awesome.
It was it was nice. It was a very nice gesture of him. Like, this
Was
thing,
that an exhibit?
It's an exhibit, which I
Yeah.
don't.
Uh-oh. Somebody's talking to you.
Oh, that was the Bugs Bunny. I have to burn my boot. I was getting ready for you, watching the Bugs Bunny with
Oh.
across the Mason-Dixon line. Now I gotta burn the boots.
That's awesome.
Oh shit. No, but anyway, so that's the story of that. So that's why the card in the last year, it was on my hit list, and so
Okay.
probably only 5 of them came up. I mean, at some point too, there was a 7 out there. I bid like over 30,000 on it. I had never spent
Yeah.
that kind of money. I won again one of those all night auctions.
Yeah.
Went to bed. It was like 1 o'clock. Nobody's gonna bid on this card. I go, what am I doing? I go, this is freaking insane,
Yeah.
Wake up,
It's
got
gone.
outbid in the
It's
middle
happened to
of the
me
night,
too.
gone.
So
And
here's
I'm glad.
yeah. Well, exactly.
But
So that's
it's
happened to me too. I can't
Mhm.
remember which one it was. It was that Koufax. When I
Yeah,
went to bed, I thought I had it, and then I woke up and it was gone. I was like,
dude, that
"Well,
was, I'll
dude
tell you
got
one
me."
thing. That's the best thing you ever had to do.
Well, it probably was now. Now
So
you
so
know.
anyway, I
So
had been bidding on them all year, and at that Heritage auction, it was October last year. There was two beautiful because the auction before that there was a couple of there was a 1.5 and a 2.5 out there, and they were pretty nice. And then again, they went 12, 13,000. I go, no, wasn't they should have went for 10 or less or
yeah,
not, but
yeah,
shoulda, woulda, coulda. We're looking at numbers, we're talking about VCP. How do you gauge this thing?
that's
I
right.
appeal you. So didn't win either one of those because you say, ah, shit, I gotta win one, and I'm bidding on both of them, and I'm click,
Yeah,
click, click all
yep,
night
yep.
long. And then you wake up, you got your balls in your head, nothing else. So this auction comes up. There's a 4 that you just showed, which I mean, there's not been a 4 that nice. Take it from
No,
me.
it's the
And
high
they
feels
had
off the chart.
they had a gorgeous 5.5 too in the same auction.
Yeah, yeah.
So I have the prices here. I mean, do you mind me sharing with them because I know what I wouldn't go.
No,
You
go
know,
ahead. It's fine.
I wanted to pay about 14, 15,000 for that card. I don't know what the hell you were thinking, but it sold for
Yeah,
18,000. Right?
yeah. I can
The
tell my
five.
side of the story when you're done.
I'd love to hear it because now the 5.5 again, I didn't. That turned out to be the bargain. I
Yeah,
didn't have the balls to bid the next bid, which would have been over 20,000. Went
yeah,
for 19.2. No cojones.
yeah, yeah.
Therefore, I got nothing. I haven't been one since. So let's hear from your
So
because
here's
I
what
bid your
happened.
ass up.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't know it was you. And so
Sure.
I'd put a placer bid on it, and I was watching about 5 different cards, and I really wanted that one. And there were some other ones. I don't even remember what the other ones were. And what I usually do, I'll have a couple of placer bids on some that I want, or if I don't want any at all, I don't worry about it. But there was like 3 or 4 in there that I wanted. And then once it goes into extended, I'll look and see which one of these cards are underbid right now. And
Mhm.
and if I really like the card and I have the money saved up for it, I'll go for that one. So I don't know if you remember this or not, but that card when extended started was like at 12.
Yeah,
And I
I
was
do
like,
remember it.
dude, I'm getting this card. And then you
You and me both.
started bidding on it.
Oh, and
And
I hit it hard.
yeah, you
Boom,
did.
boom,
And
boom,
so
boom,
then
boom.
my competitive nature took over and I wasn't going to lose, man. And even in now, in talking about grades, I wasn't going to go much higher. There was no way. I
No.
might have been the last bid I was going to do.
No, I
But it,
know. I mean, me too. Obviously, that's the way these auctions go. And we were just thankful that dealers didn't get involved because it got to a point where
that's
they
right.
couldn't make any money on it, and it was a fair price, for that
Yeah.
card. I mean, because it
But
probably should have graded a 6 anyway with that
yeah, that's
center
what I
one.
was going to
I
say.
know.
The
Yeah, I
eye
mean,
appeal
so.
on that one is a lot
Mhm,
better than a 4. And
mhm.
honestly, the eye appeal of this one's better than the 5.5 was just from
I
looking
mean,
at it.
I do think it was a little bit. That 5.5 was nice though, no
Yeah, it
doubt. I mean,
was.
because
It
I
was.
took another look tonight. It was almost as centered, not quite.
Yeah.
And I think yours had better registration too.
I know,
To be
man. That's
honest
what I'm
with you,
saying.
that's what you said. But that's what it took. Is it took that
Yeah, it
eagle
could have.
eye? It took that one extra bit. And if you want these cards in these auctions, that's really that was the day that proved to me that you know what you can take those comps and you can throw them out the fucking window because if you want the card,
Yeah. You just got to go get it, man.
you really do. I'm not in. I mean, a couple $1,000. I would practically pay somebody to find that card for me anyway. A 1,000 or 2,000.
Yeah, it
So
depends on
what's
what
it
it is.
gonna?
Yeah.
So what's it? What is that extra bid? I don't want to get carried away. I mean, look, we all want the combination when you're bidding. A combination between the right price and the right card. But the hard part I think about the auctions, and it's within the auction, is just finding your own
Yeah.
balance.
That's right.
And because like at that auction, I ended up with 2 cards that, I'll be honest with you, I don't remember them, but I
Yeah.
know I spent just as much money on 1 or 2 cards
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
might have. I think what it was. I don't know. I think that was the time when I got that red Wagner, the rare one, or I might have gotten the. I don't know. I got another, decent card, but it was my second choice.
But I will tell you this, I don't buy cards just to buy cards. It has to be one that I really love
Yeah.
and have my mind on. But what I'll do is when I'm going through, when they first put it on,
Mhm.
I'll start putting placer bids on cards. And as I'm doing that, I'm
Okay.
taking screenshots with my phone. And
Mhm.
so those cards are saved on my photos. And then between then and the card going into extended bidding, I'll go to VCP and I have a card ladder subscription. I go
So
on
you
both
have a
those.
guideline.
Yeah. And so I'll go on there and I will put on the picture, I'll edit the picture and put a number on it where I think that card should be. And so when the
Interesting.
auction starts, I have the ability to look at the pictures on my phone and know this is the guideline. And
Mhm.
very rarely do I go over that. And I've kicked myself sometimes, but what I have to do, I just have to go to bed. I just have to go to bed, man.
Well, yeah. I
But
mean,
that night, what happened? It was too low, and then it was a
Mhm.
shark feeding frenzy in the waters that was chummed, and then me and you were the two sharks, and we were fighting
Yeah,
over the
we.
same piece of fish.
I mean, that's the way the hobby gets us, really. It's
But
really
that's why
you got
they.
two people that want it, and
That's right.
for
That's why
various
REA
reasons.
shouldn't close the way they do because they're losing out on that frenzy sometimes as a
I see.
person.
I see what you mean, because a lot of people do go to bed. They put their last bid in there,
That's
and then you
right.
just end up click, 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 click until you go over
Yeah.
the guy. Which, I
Yeah.
mean, there's a lot to be said for that, I guess. But they must be doing something right, because
Yeah,
there's so
they
many
are.
auction houses, and the items in these auction houses are like I've never seen before. Like,
Well, I
and
wouldn't.
I've only been using them for a little less than 3 years, probably less than you've been back to the hobby, even.
Yeah. Yeah.
As I started to get up there and buying more Ruths and Wagners and being interested in a lot more of the some of the more rare cards out there.
Yeah.
And
So
then of course Net54, I use that, and Facebook group. But I think you use what else do you use? You
I use
Instagram.
Facebook group and
Mhm.
Instagram. And so, I'll get some private, like I bought this on a private sale.
Nice.
It's a sepia
I
postcard.
don't seem to be getting any private sales much
You know,
anymore on
I got
Facebook. They're too hard.
I got this on a private
Yeah,
sale.
that was
So yeah,
gorgeous.
so people, once you get into those groups, especially Instagram, the community there is just kind of like YouTube. And I know a
Mhm.
lot of guys, and I'm in a group with a bunch of vintage guys that have nice
Mhm.
collections, and when they want to move something, they'll bring it up, and it
Well,
gives you
that's
an
the other
opportunity.
that's the other thing. They'll run. They know that you wanted a card like that, or you put it out there, and that is that's a great
Yeah,
thing to have, because
and
they'll
I
run it by
know
you,
them.
and they want a certain amount for the card. They're going to give you a good deal. That's their price, whatever. You don't need to knock them down for. If that's what you want. Okay, I'll take it. All right,
Yeah,
or you know what, I can't right now, or
yeah,
it's a
that's
little
right.
too high or whatever. But that's the way to do it, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. Well, you got anything else to
That's
add before we go on to the petty minute? I want to hear
Wow, let's
this
see.
petty
I
minute.
don't know. Well, let's see what we're going to talk about on the petty minute. I mean, I guess we can. You want to? Is this the end of our show here? 53
What do you
minutes.
got? Anything else you want to add? I got a list. I
Well,
was
we
checking.
talked about the auction houses. I mean, I don't know. We don't have chat. Like, if we
No,
were live
it
for
kind of
people to ask
changes it. Yeah.
questions, we could go on for longer. And this is our first episode and all. I think maybe we should keep it short and somewhat sweet, maybe, so some people might watch it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe the people that are following you are probably going to be sick of me. They're going to, who's that idiot? The long hair.
No, man. Most
And the
people probably know
anger.
who you
You're going to
are.
see how angry I get. But
Well,
all right, we ready?
let me get the timer ready. I'm gonna put it
All
up to
right.
the window right here. This is low tech, guys, but it's
All
all I
right.
got. Ready? Here we go.
All right, so here's my little rant about the auction houses. So it's the place that we like to get our top quality product, but it's just one of those things that it just eating at me a little bit. These auction houses, first of all, they charge between 20 and now it's 23%. Plus tax, that's 30 something percent. You get in these comps, you get in these bidding wars, and I tell you, that money goes fast, fast, fast. And then you've got, the other thing that pissed me off the other day, Joe Wood. You guys showed a card, and I said, you know what? I bid on that card. And I showed you, it was $870. Next thing you know, it's not even delivered yet, and it's on eBay for double. Go, what is this shit? I mean, it's the same old stuff. So basically, I have this out. You got Golden, Fanatics Auction, R&R, Sirius, Golden, Wheatland, Mile Low, Hunt Auctions, Leland's again, Golden again, R&R, REA. I'm freaking sick of it. I'm so tired of it.
All right. You feel like you got it out of your system?
A little bit. The ripping helps at the end. I gotta tell you. I mean, I ripped it all up, and I hope not to have to use any of these sheets later to find out what. That's just for the month of March. I rounded off there.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So, yeah, I
So-
mean, it is crazy how a lot of them have upped their percentage, their buyer's premium. And, so,
23% is pretty much, so these are the little things that kind of eat me. It's got twice as expensive tax, the shipping, comes in.
well, being in
It's-
California, you're paying out the wazoo for taxes, man.
Yeah, and then on the other night, I was laughing at this guy on Jeremy Lee's show, Ship My Cards, and I'm going like, what the hell? What can I ship my own cards? And I guess he's a holding house in Oregon, so you send the cards to him, you don't pay tax. And I'm going,
Yeah.
you know what
He shipped
though?
them to you.
That's not. I just can't do that. I don't want to avoid my tax because they do say that the sales tax is a one true tax that everybody should pay. Because if you're buying things, everybody needs to buy things. Everybody needs to pay sales tax. True, it's 10% here. That's ridiculous. But what do you want to do? I want to live a nice life, and I
Well,
don't want to cheat on my taxes. It's one of
Yeah.
those things.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. That's why I got an accounting firm. And here in Tennessee, we don't even have a state income tax, so
Yeah.
we don't have to do that. So it's a really tax friendly state. That's why so many businesses. That's why In-N-Out Burger right there in your own backyard just moved to Tennessee. They're moving
Isn't that
headquarters
crazy?
here.
I got one right up the street. Of course, I don't eat there very often, as you can tell.
Well, Mike, man, this has been
All right, man.
fun. Well, I
Yeah.
look forward to doing this every month, and
Yeah, it should be
we'll
fun. I
have
like-
a little bit more direction on the next one. I just thought it'd be important to tell your story. That way, people
Yeah.
get to know you and get to know me a little better and know where we're coming from.
Right. Well, good luck with your channel. I hope it works out. I hope we make it to the second episode. I hope we get positive reviews. I'm sure you'll get a few negative Nellies. You got to leave them in there.
Oh yeah,
'Cause,
well, I
'cause
do.
we want everybody just to watch and just collect. It's a big community. We don't, nobody's left out in the cold. We
Yeah.
love everybody. We want everybody in. And that's
Well,
all
leave
there
in
is
the
to it.
comments what you think. Give us some ideas what you want to see. Do you want to see lives? Do you want to see interviews with different people? Do you want us to cover certain topics? So leave that in the comments, and we'll pay attention to them, and you can
Please
sway
do.
us to do something.
I love to do the live shows. That's my specialty.
Yeah, we'll get into the lives, man. You are good at that.
Well, I don't know. I'm good at it. I just like it.
Well, you're a Hall of Famer.
The free for. Oh, we forgot about that. Maybe we'll
Yeah.
talk about that next time. I'll tell you how that came about. But
Yeah.
you can only imagine who runs that, the broken wing of the Hall of Fame for YouTube. Who runs that shenanigan after 20
All right,
years,
Mike.
right?
Buddy,
man,
it's been
hey,
fun.
everybody, thanks for tuning in to the Southern Collector 14. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't
Yes,
already.
hit the
And
subscribe button.
you get free content to see some great cards and some great stories out here. And we'll see you next month, everyone.
All right, thanks, Mike.
All the best, man. Thanks, Tony.